Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I am in the beautiful English Lake District. I'm here for an overnight camp and I'm looking to check out a spot that I tried to go to this past winter, but I wasn't able to because of strong winds. So I'm back. I'm taking a slightly different route to get there, but the goal is the same, to get to this very isolated spot just below the summit of Scafell Pike and Great End and all of those peaks. So I'm looking forward to it. Let's get hiking. First thing we have to tackle is actually this. There's a big waterfall right up here, and normally I take that path down there in the valley that you can see, but for whatever reason there are loads of people parked down by the farm, and I can see quite a few hiking on that main path. So I'm off the main path and I'm actually headed to, oh wait, look at this guy. King of the hill, huh? Don't worry, not trying to take the crown. You keep doing what you're doing. So because of all the people, I'm taking a different route. I've actually only done this route once. It's a bit tougher than the standard path down there because you're really kind of walking on a small trail, but this route is definitely worth it because you get to walk right alongside that beast of a waterfall. This is why you don't see people on this route. It's a little bit trickier compared to the standard path. Look at this tree growing out of the crack of the cliff. That's pretty cool. Bit more than I remember. Take a look. So we have to scramble up through there, and then you get right about there, and that's where you start cutting across to the waterfall. I do like a good scramble. Let's do it. Not a bad spot for a water break. So pretty. Looks like some more clouds are rolling in. It's not supposed to rain, but it's England. so take that with a grain of salt. Almost there. So once we get up there, we'll start cutting across to the waterfall. The majority of the hike's through the valley there, which you've seen me do in other videos, particularly that bad weather camp where I ended up having to scrap this plan and camp in a different spot. I think I prefer coming from this direction though. So pretty. All right, through the worst of it. Now it's smooth sailing from here on out. Just gonna loop around up into the valley there. Really lucking out with the weather so far. It's a bit warmer than I anticipated it would be, but I'm not complaining. As you can see, all the bracken is starting to turn brown. Yesterday was the last day of summer, so it is now the beginning of autumn. I'm really looking forward to the temperatures starting to drop and winter camping, which is my favorite. Can't come soon enough. All right, made it into the valley from down there. Pretty easy from here on out until I get towards the end when I have to climb up the mountain about halfway or so. The mountain in the distance, way in the distance there, if you can see it on the GoPro. So just gotta wind my way through this valley, and then hopefully pretty soon we can see camp, as long as those clouds off in the distance start to disappear like they're supposed to. Starting to make the ascent again. So I'm heading up towards this peak. All right, made it up here. Now we're gonna go through there and pretty much skirt along this mountain here and then end up just up there in the clouds. The clouds are supposed to clear, so hopefully by the time we get up there they do a little bit. Look at this. So cool. And it is absolutely silent. There's no wind whatsoever. Really incredible. I'm not used to being here with no wind. It's kind of strange. That's awesome. I'm almost there. The way I mapped it is I actually head off in the distance almost to that peak, and then I kind of loop back around till I get up there. There's a little plateau, but actually directly in front of me, just above this to the left, there's a small tarn. So I may actually step off path when I get up here and just kind of make my own way up to that peak. And it's actually at the same elevation as the place I was originally intending to go anyway. So I think that's the new plan. Wow. That looks fake. That's amazing. Glad I came to this spot, and I'm glad I'm finally getting to see it from down here. I was actually, you can't see it, but way up there is Scafell Pike. And I was doing a summit camp when I saw this area, when I was flying the drone around. So I always wanted to come down and check it out and actually camp down here. It is gorgeous. Gosh, there's a perfect spot to pitch right there too. Ooh, I don't know. I think I'm still gonna head up though, but I actually do really like that spot because I would have that view. Ooh, that view. I really like that spot, but you know, I always ask myself, well, up there might look a little better. So I keep climbing. So we'll see if it does look a little better. If not, I'll go back down, but that's where we're headed. There is no path though, so it's pretty much just boulder hopping to get there for a little bit. So I just have to be careful. Starting to level out a bit, so should just be right up here. All right, here we are. Tiny little thing. But look at the view it has up here. That was actually what I was planning on doing, and I could hike over to that, but it would be nice to have a water source. I'm gonna just give this a quick walk around. That looks a little too boggy over there, so I might check out a spot over there just to see if there's a suitable spot to pitch. And if there is, I think that's going to be the view for tonight, because I don't want to go up too much higher because we're getting dangerously close to being in the clouds, and it'd be kind of disappointing to hike all this way up and not have a view, because that's pretty perfect. It's so incredibly quiet. I almost feel weird talking at a normal volume. This is a cool spot. It's very secluded. Oh, look at this. Oh, I wish this was just a little bit further. Oh, there's some spots up here. Okay, okay. So I'll be close to the water. But if I come up here, a pretty awesome view. I'm just gonna look around, check out some of these spots, see how flat they actually are. And then once I find a spot I like, I'll get back with you. Ooh, there's so many good contenders. Okay, I'm gonna bring you guys along with this very important decision. So, spot number one. The grass is perfect. It's made for a tent. There's even some loose rocks, which makes me think that people have camped here before. But look at that view. If I could pitch right up close to there, there's not supposed to be any wind tonight, and I could just stare at that for the rest of the evening. That would be pretty epic. The next spot, a little bit further over, right here, you get a decent view of that, but not as good as right up next to the edge, but you do get a view of that. Then there's this spot, and they start to get progressively worse. A bit lumpy, but I would have that view. Down there was that other spot, which had a great view as well. So many good choices. All right, I'm gonna pick one. I'm gonna stop rambling. I do need to get set up because it is, oh wow, it's almost 6 o'clock. So I only really have an hour left of daylight. So I do need to pick a spot, get set up, and then hopefully start cooking some dinner while there's still some daylight. It's been about 15 to 20 minutes since I've talked to you guys, and that entire time I've been running around like a crazy person just looking for the perfect spot, because I could not decide between having that view, which is amazing, or that view, which is equally amazing. So in scouring every spot and laying down on the grass, I have found by far the flattest spot, and I am extremely excited for it. So I'm looking forward to showing you guys. Kept coming down here. Just wait for it, I'm so excited. Because again, I wanted both views, and I stumbled across that spot right there. I don't know if you can tell on the GoPro, but it is perfectly flat. It is all grass. Not sure how deep the pegs are gonna go, so that might be interesting. It's super exposed, so I would not normally pick a spot like this, but there's gonna be very little wind tonight, supposedly. So that's gonna be it. Hopefully it's not a dumb decision, but we're gonna give it a go. I've always wanted to camp on a little ledge like this, and that's perfect. Let's do this. Of course it starts getting a little breezy as I set up. It's okay, it's gonna work. My wife probably would not be happy if she saw this spot, but if you do happen to watch this, it's not as bad as it looks. I promise. All right, I am gonna have to probably move this out of the way because the tent's gonna take up this entire area. This is quite a tight space. So for all of you purists out there who would tie your tent directly to your backpack right away with a guy line, yes, I always think about it and I would do that as well, but my backpack's up here and I don't really have room for it here. It's not a big deal. As soon as you take out the tent, just hold on to one of the lines and you can stake it right away. That way you don't have to worry about it blowing away. Because if it did blow away up here, I'm definitely not getting it. I'm gonna go put this in my bag too so this doesn't blow away. I could stake that down as well, but I'm gonna hold off on that. Stake it down. I'll do another one for good measure, and then I'm gonna roll it out and get it set up. It was like it was made for this tent. The perfect little rectangle. Oh, I'm so excited. Just hopefully I can get all the pegs in secured enough. There are some areas to attach the guys on the rocks, so I'll do that as well. I would probably never pitch up here if it was going to be windy, but the forecast, even for tomorrow, is not supposed to be windy, so I feel confident enough that it won't. But even if it will get a bit windy, I'm gonna guide out properly. Well, it doesn't get much tighter than this. I've been able to anchor it to the ground. There's only one corner which I could not peg, which is this top corner, but I will be able to extend the guy line to anchor it that way. So I'm gonna go ahead, just get the guy lines and really get this thing locked down so it's not going anywhere. And then I'll show you how I have to get in and out. Luckily there's a second tier just right in front of the door, which I can walk on. I'm gonna get a rock for that guy. Shockingly been able to find some really good anchor points. So this is what I mean by that second tier. I can stand and walk around a bit right here. So I've anchored this line to this rock, I've tied it around it. And then I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a peg and attach this loop to keep it taut as well. That way, when I tension this, it should also, tension that. Nice. So that'll hold it out and give me the space I'm used to normally as well. That worked really well. I love having to get creative with the guys. It's nice because, you know, when you do the same thing all the time, not that it gets boring, it's just kind of fun to have to do things a bit different. So I've had a lot of, oh yeah, look at this. It's not as long as I'd like, but these are fantastic anchor points. Oh yeah, that's in there. And then I'll put a rock on top of it just to make sure it stays put. All right, it's looking good. I've just gotta find a couple rocks. I'm gonna grab some from down here. So that's anchored secure. I've just gotta find a rock just to place it on there, and then I'm gonna have to anchor this skyline with a rock. This is that area I was talking about that I can walk around just above the tent. And then this way, I can actually walk around that way and up. And that's how actually I'm gonna go get water in just a second once I get the tent finished. But we're definitely starting to lose visibility. Hopefully it comes back so we can enjoy the views, the fruits of our labor. All right, let's get a rock. All right, rock in hand. Not going anywhere. Again, not ideal placement, but it's solid. It's not moving, so this will hold that steady. All right, one more rock. That should be good to go. All right, there it is, all done, anchored. It's not going anywhere. The only guy I couldn't stake out was this back one, but I'm not really getting any wind because I'm right up against the wall here. So that should be fine. But I have everything in the ground and secured with rocks. So I'm thinking she's pretty stable. Let's look at that, just made it on the edge there. And to get in, it's a little awkward, but this will pretty much be my path in and out. And then I step up and in. Time to move in. Can't believe how level it is too, compared to the other spots. Oh wow. I don't think I've ever had a more epic view from my tent door. This is amazing. Can't waste any time. I need to get water, and probably I'll start making dinner. Well, I'm glad I decided to camp a little bit further down at this spot, because if you look up there where I was planning to camp, it's just covered in clouds, so at least I have a tiny bit of a view here. I just really hope I get a nice view in the morning so I can enjoy my coffee there. It's unfortunate I got here so late. Oh well. All right, gotta get water. I'm running out of daylight. Since it's a little awkward to get in and out of the tent, I'm gonna fill up this bottle as well. That way I don't have to come back. Well, I think it's safe to say I'm not going to be running into anyone up here. Such a cool spot. Just really stinks I lost the visibility. In the morning, hopefully. All right, time to get in the tent, get a bit more settled in, and start making dinner. In the tent, a bit more cozy. I cannot believe how flat this spot is. It's so perfect. It would be nice if we had a fantastic view. So just imagine that there. Hopefully we'll get to see it in the morning. It's actually past sunset anyway. Would have been nice, but it is what it is. So I'm gonna go ahead and cook dinner. Since I don't really have any space in front of the tent, I'm probably gonna have to pull the inner back and then use this corner area to cook. And just like that, a huge amount of space to cook. Just gonna go ahead before I start and get a bit more comfortable. Temperature started to drop once the clouds came in. Go ahead and just put on my puffy. Alright, so if you watch my 3-day Scotland trip, you'll know that I didn't really get to cook as much as I wanted, primarily because of the midges. So for today's camp, I'm going to be cooking chicken cordon bleu with some asparagus. Let's get started. And pull back the footprint as well. I love how big of a cooking space I can get in this tent just by pulling the corner back. So for the chicken cordon bleu, at home I prepared a couple things, the breadcrumbs and the chicken. I just added some Parmesan cheese to it. I didn't want to do that for the long drive just because I could have softened up some of the breadcrumbs, so I wanted them as crispy as possible. So I just added the Parmesan cheese to it. And then at home I prepared the chicken. I just sliced chicken breast kind of in half, splayed it out, beat it until it was tender and flat. Then I added the Swiss cheese and the ham inside, wrapped it back up and sealed it with some toothpicks, and then that went into the freezer. And so it's pretty much just thawed out the entire day. So it's now ready to go into the butter and then into the breadcrumbs and then get cooked on the Trangia. that's got to sit for about 15 to 20 minutes to let the chicken cook through. I did bring one beer for tonight. King's Crush from Brewdog. Mango and passion fruit double milkshake IPA. Wow, that's a mouthful. And it does not sound like it would go very well with this meal, but maybe I'll drink it before I eat. Cheers, guys. Ooh, it is good though. I don't know why they put milkshake. It just tastes like a mango IPA. Really enjoying this camp. Beautiful area. The weather was pretty good. Probably my favorite tent of all time. In probably one of the coolest spots I've ever pitched it, with 180-degree sweeping views into 2 different valleys, which is pretty cool. I just hope in the morning it's clear enough where we can actually enjoy it. I can have a coffee and just look out at that. That would be amazing. Alright, I'll get back with you guys when it's time to finish off the meal. Just a little tip. If you're looking to store condiments of any kind, you can use just plastic wrap, squeeze a little bit on, and then fold it. And it's an easy, lightweight way to carry condiments instead of using, one of these, which I typically just use for liquids. Works well. Alright guys, there it is, my chicken cordon bleu. The sauce is really good on it. Alright, so for those interested, the recipe for the chicken cordon bleu and the sauce will be on my website. So you can find that at goingsolooutdoors.com. I'm going to finish this. I'll get back with you guys in a little bit. Gonna sleep with it open like this tonight. Let the breeze in a little bit. It's not that cold. All tucked in, ready for bed. I cannot get over how incredibly comfortable and flat this spot is. It's a ridiculous spot I pitched in with an incredible view. Just wish me luck that tomorrow morning the sky's clear enough that I can actually enjoy that view. It's already 10:20, so I think it's time for bed. I set my alarm for 6 a.m. Sunrise, I believe, is at 7 a.m. First light should be around 6:15, 6:30 a.m. I'm thinking. All right, I'm going to get to bed, and I will catch you in the morning. Good night.
morning. Whew. It is 6:35. I've been awake since 6 a.m. My alarm was set for then, but it was just too dark still. So I've been just laying in bed waiting for it to get a little bit lighter, but the sun is starting to come up now. I'm going to go ahead and get up, start getting packed up a little bit, get the Trangia out to make myself a cup of coffee. Overall, a really good night. Despite the wind that you're seeing now, it was completely silent. Not a breath of wind, which was amazing. It did get a little chilly, but I was plenty warm in my thick sleeping bag, so that was fine. It does look like it's going to be a chilly morning. So I'm going to go ahead and get my puffy back on. And get up. Hopefully we have a view. Wow. What an incredible spot. Just so happy I get to enjoy it this morning. That's amazing. Super cool. Look at that view. Oh my gosh. The spot's so great. Wow. All right, let's make a coffee. I had to come up here just to take a look real quick. Look at this view. Pretty incredible spot. Oh man, I'm just so happy I was able to actually see it this morning. So beautiful. Doesn't even look real. I'm gonna unclip just the corner edge here. Just give myself a bit of room. Should be enough fuel for a cup of coffee. Wow. What a spot. Just using a coffee bag this morning. This stinks. I just went to go fly the drone. I don't know if you guys can see. It's only at 20% and it won't take off. Completely forgot to charge it. Oh, I've never forgotten to charge it. Man, I can't believe I'm gonna miss this opportunity to fly. Oh, that's painful. All right, well, I guess coffee's my consolation prize. Cheers, guys. Definitely one of the best spots I've ever had in terms of view.
This is one of the reasons why I love this tent so much. When you get a spot like this and you just open the door completely. Ah, so good. So good. Unobstructed view of everything. Switch jackets, I'd sweat to death in that. I was already sweating like crazy yesterday. Ooh, it is brisk. Oh, I'm so gutted I couldn't fly the drone. This is such an awesome spot. I'm gonna have to come back just to fly the drone. It's amazing how much these tents can compress. All right, there we were down here. Nice flat spot. Can't believe how flat that spot is. Right on the edge of the cliff with that fantastic view. Couldn't have asked for a better spot for the night. I'm actually gonna walk this way and try to come down that way to meet up with the trail, which is off in the distance right there. And then I'll head out back down the valley. There's the trail. Almost down to it, and then pretty much a straight shot down through the valley, and then we'll drop down one more time to get into the adjacent valley, and that's where I parked the car. This is around 4 miles, so it's not bad at all, but with the daylight now fading quickly, it actually took me 5 hours to get here yesterday. That makes a big difference on the distance I can actually hike before sunset, as you saw yesterday. But very happy that we're getting into autumn and winter eventually. It's my favorite time of the year to camp. Here's the trail. I'll catch up with you guys when we get to that tarn off in the distance. All right, we've made it back to the tarn. That's where we came from, off in the distance. And if you look really closely, the peak right there, and right on the top of that is where we slept, getting to look at this view with that valley and this valley. I am really bummed I didn't get to film with the drone though. I'm gonna have to go back. I'll just have to do a different tent or something to make it a little bit different. If I could make it to that spot in the winter when there's snow, that'd be really cool. I don't know, we'll see. Making my way down. What an incredible morning. I wish it was this clear yesterday. Oh well. Can't have everything, I suppose. All right, I'm gonna keep hiking. Not very eventful through this valley, so I'm just gonna keep making my way through it. And then once I get to the next, where I can see down to where I parked the car, I'll probably sign out there. All right, guys, we made it back down to the valley. So I'm parked off in the distance there by the farm. Overall, really great trip. Fantastic spot. Had a really nice meal. Really quiet, relaxing night in the tent with no wind. Just an all-around perfect camp. Autumn is coming, so I'll be able to start doing hot tent camps soon, hopefully. I may have another month though, unless we get a really cold day. So in October, I do have a couple new tents coming, which I'm pretty excited about. So you'll be seeing those in videos. Something a bit different, both of which are tents that I think will be really interesting to you guys. So hopefully you enjoy seeing those. I think that's going to do it for this video. So if you have any questions or comments, just leave them down below and I'll catch you on the next one. Please like, share, and get outside. Later.